All right, this is a real client account, a brand called Garvee. And what you're looking at is the line that actually matters. Email went from 7.3% of total store revenue to 15.5% in a single year. And when he first came to us, before any of this, email was just sitting at 4%. In raw dollars, that's email revenue going from $143,000 in a quarter to $1.6 million. Same brand, same products, roughly 12 months apart. And I want to be clear about something up front, because this is the part that most case study videos skip. This wasn't just one clever campaign or a lucky Q4. It was a full rebuild, 4 parts, and they only worked because they were built in the right order. So let me walk you through exactly what we did in the order that we did it. So here's an honest starting position. When Garvee came to us in early 2025, email wasn't broken in the sense of not existing. It was broken in the sense that it existed and did nothing. The channel was generating only 4% of total store revenue. To break that down further, 3% was coming from flows and 1% coming from campaigns. Lead capture, the pop-up, was converting at a mere 1.6%. Campaign clicks and conversion rates were low across the board. The abandoned cart emails weren't recovering revenue at any rate worth talking about. And underneath all of it, there was no discount discipline, no real segmentation structure, and no deliverability hygiene. So there is a brand with the traffic and audience to do a lot more, but running a program on email that's just basically idle. Now, the one thing I'll say here, and it's the most important thing in this whole video, is that you cannot scale a program in this state. If you just start setting more from this foundation, you don't get more revenue, you get more spam complaints. The very foundation that we're speaking to has to come first. And that's why the rebuild happened in the order that it did, and that's why it took the amount of time that it did. I want to give you the way to think about this before we get to the 4 rebuilds, because it's the most important thing that founders get wrong when they look at their own accounts. Having email active tells you nothing. Every brand has flows turned on. Every brand sends campaigns. The dashboard typically shows green, but what actually determines whether email is a 4% channel or a 15% channel and beyond is whether 4 specific systems underneath are built properly and built to work together. Those 4 are the flow architecture, the campaign segmentation, the lead capture engine, and the deliverability infrastructure. Most brands have all 4 switched on and none of them built. They run as 4 disconnected things instead of one engine. So as I walk you through what we did for Garvee, I want you to do the honest version of this on your own account. Not, do I have this turned on, but actually, is this built? Those are very different questions. Rebuild 1 was the flow architecture, and we redesigned every core flow from the ground up, not edited, rebuilt. The welcome flow, the cart abandonment sequences, browse abandonment, and the post-purchase flows. Every one of them got rebuilt around 3 things. Strong USPs, so that the emails actually argues for the product. Review-based credibility, so that it's not the brand talking, it's the other customers. And dynamic product blocks, so that the customer sees what is relevant to them. The part that protects your margin is the discount logic. Before, there were no discount discipline at all. We kept it at 12% with expiry urgencies built in. That cap matters. It's the difference between a flow driving revenue and a flow that's just training your customers to wait for a code. And inside the checkout recovery flows specifically, we build an urgency ladder. The offer escalates from 10% to 15% across the sequence instead of one static discount sitting there. That creates a consistent pull through the flow rather than one take it or leave it moment. We also tighten up the mechanics, shorter timing delays in the abandonment flows so that email arrives while intent is still warm. Profile filters added so that the right people get the right sequence, and checkout recovery simplified because choice overload at checkout ultimately kills conversion. Rebuild 2 is the one I want you to pay most attention to, because this is where most brands get the order wrong. They scale send volume first and build segmentation later. We did it the other way around. We built segmentation infrastructure before we scaled a single send. And here's what that looked like. Engaged audiences split into 0 to 30 days, 31 to 60 days, and 61 to 90 day segments. Inactive profiles suppressed entirely. Then purchase behavior targeting and product-specific segments layered in on top, alongside the 180-day engaged filter. And once that structure existed, we could then open up the volume. Campaign deliveries went from 425,000 in Q4 of 2024 to 4.4 million in Q4 of 2025. That's more than a 10x increase in volume. And the number that proves it was done right is deliverability and inbox placement held the entire way up. If you scale 10x without segmentation underneath, Gmail is going to notice, your spam rate's going to climb, and you're going to torch the channel that you're trying so hard to grow. The segmentation infrastructure is what makes the volume safe. The last two rebuilds are the supply line and the protection. Let's take lead capture first. The pop-up was rebuilt inside Klaviyo with SMS multi-step opt-ins, exit intent triggers, and a controlled discount ladder. The goal was a subscriber engine that could feed aggressive list growth without dragging in low-quality profiles that ultimately hurt your sender reputation. The result, in Q4 of 2025 alone, Garvee added 101,000 new email subscribers, and 77,000 of those were net new. That's the supply line for everything else. Then deliverability, which is the rebuild that nobody finds exciting and everybody needs. Scaling volume only works if the inbox placement holds up. So throughout the whole scale up, we were cleaning inactive profiles, suppressing unengaged users, controlling send frequency, and watching spam rates the entire time. And here's the proof that it worked. Through all of that volume increase, spam rate held stable at 0.04% in Q4 of 2025, with campaign open rates of 42.82% on average. Revenue multiplied because the reputation got protected first. That order is non-optional. So all four rebuilds ran for about 12 months, and then Garvee walked into Q4 of 2025 peak season with an actual lifecycle engine instead of an idling channel. Here's what 12 months of structural work produced. Attributed email revenue, $143,000 to 1.6 million. That is the 10x figure, specifically 1,067% increase figure. Email's share of total store revenue went from 7.3% to 15.5%. So email more than doubled its contribution to the business in a single year as a percentage, while total store revenue itself went from 1.9 million to 10.8 million. Underneath that, flow revenue went up by 1,116%, campaign revenue went up by 932%, and the detail I really want you to catch is that revenue per recipient stayed basically flat. 9 cents per recipient before, 9 cents after, across the portfolio, across the program, across a 10x increase in volume. And that flat line is exactly what it needs to be, because it means that growth came from a bigger, better built engine, not from burning the list harder. Unique opens went up 1,809%, and spam rate did not move. And one last number, because it answers a question that every founder is asking. First-time customer revenue from email hit $1.3 million in Q4, up over 1,000%. Returning customer revenue hit $349,000. So this rebuild drove new customer acquisition while strengthening retention at the same time. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be the order and the sequencing. Garvee's results didn't come from one big swing. They came from 4 systems rebuilt in sequence. Foundation first, then volume, then supply, then protection running underneath the entire time. Here's the honest self-check for your own account. 1, are your core flows actually built around your USPs, reviews, and dynamic content, or are they just turned on? 2, did you build segmentation before you scaled sends, or are you sending big to a list with no structure? 3, is your lead capture feeding quality subscribers or just volume? 4, is anyone actually watching your spam rate and inbox placement? If you went 4 for 4 on we haven't really built that, your email channel is almost certainly a channel that could do way more revenue. That gap is real revenue, and it compounds every quarter that you leave it on its own. The full Garvee breakdown with every data table you saw in this video is on our site, link below. And if you want us to find exactly where your program is leaking revenue, there's a link to book a strategy session in the description below. Either way, email is active and email is built are 2 completely different things. So go find out which one you got.